Hey everybody, Edo here, and for this week's League video, I want to talk to you about cons. Cons in general, and what you should do if you are a publisher or an indie, Kickstarter publisher at a convention, right? So there's sort of and so this isn't like how to find a convention, which conventions to go to, where to play games. I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about somebody who either has a booth and is going to be using the booth and maximizing your booth, or what to do if you perhaps don't have a booth. So let me do that category first, actually, because it's shorter and I think it's more creative. So if you're going to a convention and you have a Kickstarter coming up, or you want to do promotion, and it's a working convention, right? It's not like I'm going to game, but you don't have a booth or a space. Different conventions are different sizes, but there's a couple key things you can do to promote within an event. Firstly, know what's okay and not okay. A lot of events, especially the bigger ones, have rules against solicitation and walking up to people and handing things out. And I can't say that they're universally enforced, but it doesn't hurt to know and be aware when you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. So I definitely think you should do that. I know when Gen Con, first one I ever went to with Liftoff, I was doing the giveaway and the promo contest, and it all worked out well for me. But boy, I think we pushed the limit there in terms of signage and other things we were doing, right? So you're at a convention, you want to promote. Here are the great things you can do. One, any convention with events almost always allow anyone to get up events, like a Gen Con or Origins or some other ones. Gen Con's really the big one, but a lot of have events, and they have tables. You reserve a table and you can play at it. This is great. Make sure you have a number of copies of your game. Make sure that you, personalizing your, whether it's a shirt that says the name of your logo, or, usually you can put signage on yourself. So don't be afraid to put a little signage on yourself for your product so people see it as you walk around. You can get that table and then have some sort of, you don't need to have a huge retractable giant thing, but do have something that you can maybe fit in a backpack if you're going to get a table that you can pull out and get some vertical show, right? Getting some verticality on your table is a big deal. And having something pretty or cool or interesting looking on your table helps. So that's a little secret here, and this is also for the booths. But hey, if your game or prototype isn't visually popping or has something that would attract people's eyes, don't be afraid to have something on your table that attracts people's eyes. Like if your game's a dungeon crawl, or maybe it's a cool skull or treasure chest, or if your game's, about space, maybe it's some sort of like fun, interesting blaster. Like otaku stuff, like fun, interesting tchotchke, whatever. I don't mean giveaways. I just mean something that somebody's going to walk around, and if your game's just a prototype, they're going to see your prototype, but then they're going to see this cool thing. Then they're going to walk over to see the thing, and then they'll strike up a conversation. These are like tricks, right? This is just ways to get people to come. Have some verticality and have something to see. To see. Okay, so that's sort of in the event space. The other thing, for sure, as a publisher, if you have multiple games, when you are at a convention, bring them. Have them on you. Have them on you. It's a pain. It's heavy. All those things. But if you're at a place with lots of traffic and lots of people, especially people who might be publishers or reviewers or whatever, have it available. Have it on you. Like at a Gen Con, depending what's going on, I'm usually going to have multiple copies, a demo copy and like a couple extras of things that I got. Maybe I'll run into a reviewer and hand them a copy. Maybe I'll publisher who I want to look at, a bigger distributor or publisher who wants to look at something, wants to show it to them. And then I'll have like a restock in my room. This is, again, you don't have a booth, but you do have a room and you can put your stuff into it. So having the ability to hand things out, give them certainly simple flyers. People are interested in whatever you're talking about. They want to learn more, whether it's a business card or a little flyer. Again, be able to give a takeaway. So have your product on you or your game. Use table and event space if you can. If you can, make it interesting, and certainly have something for people to take with them, and also some way to record their information. Like people, there's a huge value. Like the difference between saying, "Well, I got a pen in my backpack. I'll figure it out if somebody wants to know more," and having a file set up on your computer or a sheet with lines on it for their information. Like It's the difference between walking away with 3 pieces of contact information and 30 or 300, right? Like, it makes a huge difference to be prepared. So, other options, most places have a game library. This is not really for a Kickstarter prototype thing, but if you are going to be at a place with a game library and you have a game that's in like a box, give it to them. Donate them. Drop one off. Well, you usually don't need to do two because it's sort of like a library situation, but definitely give them one. It's great, especially if you have the game at the con. You can send people there, that kind of thing. And then it is nice to run some sort of social media type contest engagement thing. The best one I've ever done really was, here's a free alien eagle. So here's a free takeaway, little cute guy. Take him around, take pictures of him, and tag your pictures online. And if we pick one, and you're going to get a free copy of the game or an Amazon gift card that's worth the value of the game, and you can use it on the game or something like that, right? That was really successful because it had an engagement point, it had a handout, and it had a contest. So that's something to consider. So those are all the things on the sort of, I want this to be a working con, but I haven't gotten a table. The table experience is totally different. A lot of those rules apply, but the first time you go to an event and you have a table is a nice, terrible, nice learning experience. What's gonna happen is you're not gonna have a partner. It's just gonna be you at a table. You're gonna have your stuff, and you're just gonna stand there for an entire con, bored out of your mind for 3 days. Now, that's not entirely true, but the point is, like, it's a ton of standing, it's a ton of sales, there's down period, you got to figure out how to leave your booth. There's all these little subtleties where if you're just like, oh, I'll buy a 150 table and be at the con, like, that first time you've done it is like a big sort of, like, a lot of people go into it and sort of come out of it saying, man, I don't know if I ever want to do that again. Because you got to separate the fact that it's not about having fun anymore, right? It's not, you can make it fun, right? You can do all that, but it's not about that anymore. You've got a booth. You're trying to sell. You're trying to engage customers. You're trying to go to talk to retailers or whatever. So, advice. Expert booth, okay? And I'm not even an expert. I'm not. Better than basic, huh? Better than basic booth, okay? 1, take care of your setup. Have product on display in a nice way. Invest in a little stand, some verticality. Getting some height is valuable. Displaying your components in a nice, interesting pattern, in a way, in a spread, is really valuable. Making it look clean and orderly and enticing is a big deal. Verticality on your table, nice display, and then much like I just said before, something interesting or engaging that might not even be the game, especially depending on the visuals, that pops and brings people over. You know, a bag of a little candy tray does that too, but I think if it's interesting and that people haven't seen it before, they'll like come over and lean in. You want people to lean in. Signage behind is also valuable. Buildasign.com is a great site that I use, $80 retractable banner that they'll ship to you with a little carrying case. Get that height, understand how high a table is, and keep your key information above it on that banner. And that's a good start. Again, the more interesting you can make your space, I mean, if you're willing to bring 500 copies of a game and make towers out of the games, that seems like there's a ton. Seems like it's a big, interesting thing. That's pretty good. That's like a Gen Con type of thing, right? But really, when you think of your space and presentation, verticality, display, something interesting. It is good to wear your brand. I tend not to because I haven't invested in that, but I think the more professional, company engaging you are, the better. So that's 1. Have a takeaway, whether it's a card or a flyer for people who are interested. If you're selling product, sales are good. Con sales are good. They don't got to be big. Maybe it's an add-on that you put in or a $2 discount, but that does drive people, or bundle sale, depending on how many games you have. But that's sort of stage 1. That's just your table. Stage 2, don't do it alone. Like, Get a second person to do it with you. Your partner, your friend, your spouse, your kid, just maybe you're not too young kid. Like, two people manning a booth is just more engaging to customers. It better manages flow, and it'll help you have sanity. You can take bathroom breaks. Like, two people at a booth is much better than one. So I highly recommend having somebody come along. You know, you can say, well, I got somebody for Friday and Saturday, but no one for Sunday. Like, you know, whatever. You can do what you got to do, but that's a big deal. Two people there managing it, right? Now, here's the better. Better than two is three. And it's not three for the table, depending on the con, I guess. But if you're small, you don't need three people at that table. But what you can do with a third person is have them in the gaming area, have them in an event space, have them, you know, in walking away and playing the game, demoing the game, talking about the game, and sending them back, getting them back. Having a place where somebody wants to play to send them to demo. This can actually be depending on like a KubbleCon has a table you can buy that's out front, but you can have people demoing at the table. But having the game being played the entire convention while running a booth is a major multiplier on attention, engagement, and interest. It's really a different thing, but you need the crew to do it. And, you know, you can pay crews in different ways. None of these are big events, so, you know, maybe you pay them with thanks and pizza, right? And a free pass to the convention. Anyone beyond those three usually just helps cycle through, right? Like, again, you might have 4 or 5 badges, and you spread it around and say, well, you guys are going to work two shifts, and then you have the rest of the con to do whatever you want. So think about your space, think about how it's presented, and then get the people. Invest in the people to be there to help drive it. Also, so I mean, those are the key ones. Prep it in advance, have your game together, your act together, let people know, get out on social media, just get some good awareness that you're going to be there, perhaps do some sort of pre-contest with a pickup there or meet and greet. Certainly, if you've done a Kickstarter, letting those backers know, just promoting the event and letting people know you're going to be there and doing it. That doesn't bring over 1,000 people, but it brings over 15. And they're people who want to meet you and talk to you, and so that's a really powerful connection point, which I think you should leverage. And during the event, especially easy with more people, social media, tweeting, getting engagement, letting people know where you are, that kind of thing. If you're working on a game or a prototype, if you can afford it or you got a friend, somebody filming everything, super valuable. Seeing you at the table, seeing you talk about the game, seeing you explain something, having a bunch of people playing it. The type of fun and play you see at a con and a convention that can be worked into marketing and media and a Kickstarter video is insanely valuable. I actually think there's more opportunity for people to get free passes to cons by selling that service. Like, I think that's a service a lot of people need. And is perhaps not too hard for the individual doing it to sort of provide it. I remember, and I paid her for sure, I had Tiffany film, and she's a great filmographer, but she filmed PAX South Indie Showcase, whatever, when I was doing the Siblings Trouble, because I really wanted film of people playing that game and having fun with it and catching the moments. So she worked. I mean, there's a different level of quality between asking your friend to have a camera and paying somebody. But in that case, I thought it was immensely valuable to have all of that footage and being able to, you know, with good sound and well thought through and close up. So that was super valuable. I think those are the main factors. I actually would love people to add other ideas to the thread or to the comment section. This is just one of those things where, like, you know, tides rise, rise all boats, or whatever that expression is. Like, I just think it's good for people to know how to do a good job. And I definitely think if you're planning on doing like a Gen Con or some big convention where you're investing a couple $1,000 to do it, to drive there, to bring your goods, to have all that, do a small one first. Like, get your kinks out, know how to demo, save yourself some learning curve on a fixed timeline by practicing. So subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I hope this was helpful. Thanks.